Hello, good evening, welcome to Rangers Radio on this bank holiday Monday, Easter. Join myself, Oxford, on the show tonight. Young GB, evening GB.
Evening Ox, happy Easter, mate. How are we getting on?
All right, mate. What kind of egg did you get, mate?
I got a Port Bear Galaxy cream egg, mate. So I'm over the moon. A Port Bear Galaxy caramel cream egg, mate.
Was that a caramel coloured one? Was it?
Aye, mate. Aye.
I got to talk to Chris one. That was the wrapper was the same colour as Port Bear.
Good weekend, mate.
No particularly.
I was going to say I was in Costa del Air all weekend, Ox. So I was able to hide a wee bit from the game on Saturday. But I'm sure we've got a lot of talking points to get through tonight, mate.
I am a lot of talking points, a lot about players, a lot about decisions, a lot about where we're at, a lot of discussions. Do you want to go first or second?
I'll give the mantle to yourself, mate, since you're the captain for tonight, mate.
Okay. I'm the captain of the ship, am I?
Always, mate, always.
Well, the ship is a tanker.
As long as it floats, mate, as long as it floats.
Right, okay. Now we're time to reflect. Okay, things went against us. Let's take the refereeing decisions out to deal with the game, GB, yeah?
Yeah, Oxeye, yep.
Right, we should have had a goal. There's no ifs, buts or maybes, but we'll part that.
Mm-hmm.
We lost a bad goal, the first goal. We gave the ball away cheaply and they broke away, got behind us, cut it back, the boy finished it, goal. Same movie again. We've seen it a couple of times. Up to then, we've been reasonably comfortable, apart from the offside goal that they got behind us. The boy was a couple of yards offside, so that's fair enough. But we played okay in spells, but some of our players were if you like, were creative players. Tillman at times on the ball, he takes the ball, but they're not going to get that time in that match to wait in the middle of the park, you know. And I think that's the trouble that Malik's got. The boy's got undoubted ability, and he'll score goals. But he needs to quicken up his game, and if he's playing in the midfield, he's not going to get that time. We are our two creative players, Cantwell and Kent, mate. Cantwell worked hard and showed glimpses, and but his numbers have got to improve, mate. He's got to start making more goals and contributing more, you know. Unless you flatten to deceive was a word that somebody used, and I thought, yeah, that's right. Obviously, the boys new to the team, we need to give him a chance. Ryan Kent, it's coming in the end, mate. His numbers are atrocious. Yeah, he works hard. You maybe see if he puts in yards, somebody might be able to say that. But his numbers are atrocious, GB. You're judged on what you create and what you score, particularly as a forward player. And he offered nothing on Saturday. And what worried me more about the future was the fact that Michael Beale left him on for the full 90 minutes.
Aye, Ox.
We get the equaliser. An absolute wonderful goal. Tillman brought the edge of the box. An absolute wonderful goal by James Tavernier. Top draw.
World class, Ox. World class. Like, I think if I take I'll take your Tillman point. I think total inexperience was shown with him. I think he showed his age a wee bit in the game at the weekend again, Ox. The chance that he had around about the 30-minute mark, I think it was about 28 minutes, he had the shot across the face of goal. That's a chance where you need to bury them, Ox. I mean,
I didn't think it was a shot, mate. I didn't think he should have been shooting from where he was.
You know what I mean? Like the way he's been playing recently, you'd think that his fancy feet.
I didn't think it was a shot from where he was, mate. I think he was kidding himself on. He had to do something different, move in with the ball and then make something happen.
Aye, his fancy feet. Mm-hmm. Aye, the way he's been good with his feet. That's what I was expecting. And that's the clinical side, Docs. That's what we're just lacking, being clinical. That full forward line for me on Saturday was they're just one of clinical Ox, and that's the difference that I've seen in both teams.
You've got to make chances for teams to score goals, and we don't make a lot. We don't make enough chances, mate. So we get to the second half, and we started the second half really, really well. It was similar to a spell we had in the cup final after we were 2-0 down, one each. It wasn't, but we only created one chance. I mean, they were the 6s and 7s, just humping the ball clear, and it was wave after wave of Rangers attack. And the only chance it came is the one that fell to Alfie, the only real chance. Fell to Alfie, and he hits it, good height for the goal to save. And I was talking to somebody we know well on the show. I wouldn't mention any names, but it wouldn't be fair. But he's not a Super Six up all season, so he was correct when he said that side foot it away from heart and it's a goal, and that's the difference between a finisher and a guy who's a number 9. Alfie's a good player, but he's not a natural finisher. So we're the best team. We've got them on the racks for about 15 minutes. And you could see the players tiring, particularly Tillman, Cantwell, Raskin. Yeah, and Raskin, I thought, was arguably our best player. You could see him tiring. There's another thing that's going to give me cause for concerns. Our coaching staff and my manager never noticed it and never made any changes. Within a couple of minutes, we'd lost 2 cheap goals. And one of them could have been due to fatigue. Could have been. Right, the first goal we lost, 2 howlers for Ben Davis. Howlers. An experienced pro, we made an absolute mess of it twice. We made an easy goal for him, 2-1 down. You're thinking, what have I just watched there? And then the third goal, a bad pass by Ryan Jack. Then it leads to a terrible pass by John Suter. I'm going to cut him a wee bit of slack and put it down to fatigue for the boy. But it was a howler. And then it didn't look good when the guy ran past Alan McGregor. It wasn't a good look. 3-1. And this is what I will give our team credit, mate. They rallied and then we scored another excellent goal with our captain again, a great cross by Borna. And Tab puts in a good header, 3-2. And we were the team that looked more likely to get another goal. And they kept going and showed a bit of character. We brought Subzone, who never influenced the game. We took Alfie off and brought Cholak off, which I can't understand when you're trying to score goals. And we needed 2 goals. We're trying to win the game, GB. I just can't understand it. And it worries me already about Michael Beale's tenure, about what he does during the match, mate. I've got concerns. I've said it already about his substitutions, and I'll say it again. Now, he might say I've not got the quality I want, but who apart from Man City, maybe Real Madrid, has got the quality they want on the bench, mate? They're part of your squad. You've got to use them. They're there to refresh.
The players that says he's got on the bench, they're no any diddies. You mean they're professional players. They've came for. I mean, like I says, we've got Joak and Lundstrom and that. They're players that should be coming on and doing some, at least helping the team get up the park, like he says, to create chances and stuff like that. Scott Wright again gets another chance. The frustration, like you say, is the frustration is that he leaves these substitutions so late, Ox, and that is a worry. It's like, I mean, he's done it now. I talked to you last week about he's got to take learnings away for the previous games, and again, the day in Saturday, it was shown that he never learned for these games, Ox. And we've touched on it before, the substitutions, the timing, he just leaves it so long. And like I says, we're seeing the guys on the park getting tired. We're not seeing... I mean, Raskin had a brilliant ball in about 76 minutes to Alfredo, but Alfredo didn't have the pace to get there. You know what I mean? And as much as, like you're saying, Ox, to stay in, for him to stay on the park, I keep him on the park, but have somebody else in there that, what I say, if Raskin plays that pass, that he could run onto that ball. It's just, I don't know. Like the chance of Cholak, Lundstrom, and Scott Wright doing damage in 9 minutes, Ox, is, I don't know, is a lot to ask, I think. And what I say,
it's hard coming on for a substitute. You're only hiding nothing as players. I get that. I understand that fully. But in the modern game, mate, you've got 5 substitutes. You've got to use them at the right time. And especially, I know your team in Saturday, mate. We had 2 players who were playing who were coming back from injury and have hardly played football. Raskin and Suter. Yeah. And the two of them gave us a shift. Big John made a mess it for a goal, and he, if Butts maybe an absolute howler. And whether he's going to be a good player for us, only time will tell. But you've also got to be fair to them and all. You know, and I just worry about the decision making. No, about how we refresh it with 5 substitutes. It's a big part of the game, GB.
Ox, I was looking at just after they scored that for the Ben Davis mistake. I was expecting the kind of 63-minute mark. I think around about when Tillman getting swapped here, that there was going to be a kind of flood of substitutions. I'm not expecting the 5 to get made at that point, but like I says, I think, like say Cholak, he needs to get into the game. I mean, in fact, he actually had a chance near the end as well, Cholak, with Fashion. There was a bit of a mix-up in that, and they could have put that one away. But if he's leaving them for 9 minutes, Ox, in a game, then, and then we're watching Kent all through the game as well, doing nothing. I mean, he's got players there tactically. He can swap players in and out. I mean, Fashion should have went to the left. He could have had Lundstrom going in straight into the middle. And like I says, Scott Wright, if he's got to do a job, then we can move players around about to help the attack.
Scott Wright's never done a job. He started in the cup final for us. 2 cup finals. Well, no, he came on as sub in one, didn't he? He started in the Europe Cup final and scored a goal in the Scottish Cup final. Scott Wright's not good enough to play for our club. He's what? It's not his fault. I mean, that's only my opinion. The boy comes on and he gives you a few minutes. He's got pace and he's got ability. But it's not a dug in the fight, mate. It's a heart in the dug, and it's not there.
And that's the question. That's why the manager will get criticised and questioned, Ox, because we continually persevere with guys that are no good enough. I mean, I think now, after the Saturday, Ox, everybody that's listed out of contract, they've got to go. We've got to freshen this up now, Ox. It's as much as that they've had flashes of good games and trying hard and stuff like that. And Ryan Jacks kind of came on a game every now and then, stuff like that. But I'm sorry. No, he didn't. That's what I'm saying, Ox. And this is where we've just got to go with it. We've got to let them go. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? I mean, at the end of the day, we're sitting where we are now, and we're struggling still to compete against that mob. But
mate, that's the annoying thing. They were there for the taking on Saturday. That's how people are so frustrated.
Oh no, they are, Ox, but we're still, like I says, between our manager not making the right decisions and between players still making stupid mistakes. I mean, let's face it, Ox, the learning should have been Kyogo and Maeda are the two players, probably Jota as well, maybe, that are the ones that need to be watched. And see when you watch Kyogo straight away for the off, he also gets that offside goal, but nobody was watching him again. And then he gets that goal and nobody's tight on him, Ox. I mean, Ben Davis and John Suter are never.
What you're saying is then my tactics are wrong. So somebody should have went man for man and marked him. Maybe that's too much like common sense, GB, yeah?
I think so, Ox. To be honest, Tav man marked Maeda for most of the game, and I think Tav.
Maeda wasn't in the game that much, mate.
No, because Tav played a blinder. And do you know what's frustrating, Ox, right? Tav and Bourne are usually the ones that get slated in the games, and yet they had probably a decent game in Saturday. And most of the players did. I'll give them, like you says, Ox, the due that they never just after the first goal just caved in. I mean, they did keep trying and came back.
And even when we went 3-1, mate, we rallied and we got 3-2, and then we were still pushing for the equaliser.
Yeah. But the biggest concern I take away from it, Ox, is that again it's our right back that's doing all the scoring. I mean, their attacking line needs seriously looked at. Tillman's a fantastic talent, but we really need to look at this in the summer, Ox. We need people that are going to be clinical.
It's only my opinion. I think Tillman and Cantwell's best position are the same position. And you've got, Aye,
Ox. Unless, let's say, Tillman moves faster in the game, unless he learns that side of it. I mean, because he has done well that kind of close to the 10, but I don't know the decision making again. Like I says, you put the chance that I was talking about earlier down to one of them across the city.
A shot, mate. It was never a shot, not for that angle, mate. He couldn't.
No, you're not getting what I mean. What I mean is he had time. There was nobody running about him, like you says. He had the time to bring it in a wee bit more. Rocks take a player on. I think he had Moy on toast a bit. He could have took him run it and had a proper dig at it. Like I says, I see if you put there.
Not that simple, mate. The guy just didn't get the way to let you shoot. You know.
I'm just saying that if it was their players, Rocks, I think they would have scored that. They would have made something out of that chance. And I just think our players are just not doing the same as what they're doing across the city. There's chances there that we're making, and what I say is we should probably be out of most of them. We should be at least getting one goal out of it all. And what I says, Alfie had chances. I think he had a shot in about the kind of 48th minute. Like you touched on, should have just placed it. Had a header. Granted, they had a shot pull as well. I mean, the chances are there, Rocks, and that's where we need to get somebody in that's clinical. We're not clinical.
I thought for a couple of seconds Tav was going to get his hat trick, mate, when he came in at the back post.
Aye.
Going to come in and make it 3 each. Right, mate, we've said we're that. We've got it off. We've just, yeah.
Yep.
You know, and funny enough, up to two of them had a mad few minutes. You could have shot the two of them. Ben Davis and John Suter weren't bad. They weren't fantastic, but they weren't bad, mate. You know.
Mate, see, even after Ben Davis and Suter's mistake, see when you watch the rest of the game, and like you say, it's good that you get a Monday night kind of show because you get time to watch the game again. There's bits in that the rest of that game where the boys had to make decisions and stop attacks and stuff like that, and they cut them out. I mean, it stops probably Celtic for scoring more goals. I mean, so at the end of the day, they still done their job. Again, it was just moment of madness, maybe. With John Suter, the blind pass, don't be doing that in an all-firm game. You just don't do it. And it's the Ben Davis one, just get it away. Just deal with it, and we'll deal with a corner. I mean, it's just silly mistakes, Hawks, and it's costing us because that's just the word there.
The second one took the pressure off them because we were a dominant team, mate. We were a dominant team. Anyway, enough for me and you, right?
100%.
Let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Right, we've done the easy bit now. That's the easy bit done. But obviously there's a couple of major talking points. Mate, we had a good goal chopped off. The referee, that's the first time we've played against him and we've lost. But in saying that, one of the worst performances I've ever seen by a referee was the game we won when Big Katic scored the header, when Ryan Kent scored the goal. And that was up there on Saturday. The guy's performance, the stop and play, the pettiness. You know, Carl McGregor should have been off the park. Should have been off the park.
I was going to say that he pushed Raskin. He actually, in fact, he hit him.
But he should have been booked before that, mate. He should have been booked before that. That should have been him off the park. So then we get to the goal where he's chopped it off. Now, my understanding of VAR is it's there to see a clear and obvious header, to see what the referee's seen. So he's seen a foul. So VAR can't go against that because he thinks that there's a shoving, but everybody agrees. Everybody, even Dermot Gallagher, said that it should have been a goal. It's a goal all day long, mate. Yeah, two players is at 6s and 7s, or is it when the same again when they gave the foul against? I think it was Katic when they gave the foul against us at that day when we won the game at Parkhead, and then they never gave the same foul for us. Yeah, He's just incompetent, and well, I don't know what he sees, mate, and I'm picking my words wisely, mate, yeah? It was a goal all day long.
Yeah, Rocks, it was. And then what I says, I give Alfie criticism, but again, he's in about it. Would you call him Johnson? I think he's the luckiest player in the park on Saturday. The amount of stuff he was doing, some of the tackles he was doing, some of the dark art stuff he was doing. I mean, he was constantly a thorn in our side a wee bit. But again, it was overlooked. And like I says, the two of them are pulling each other. But as the ball drops, there's no pulling knocks. Alfie sticks his leg out and puts it in the back of the net. It's a legitimate goal. Even on the commentary, you've got one of the worst guys saying that it wasn't a foul. You know what I mean? So, my interpretation, like you, Ox, VAR's meant to go and have a look at it and turn around to the referee and say, "Nah, the two of them are pulling at each other."
No, I don't think that's the trouble with VAR. I don't think it can sort that out, mate. It's no there to do that. It's only there to clear and obvious mistakes, like if it hit your horn and you've missed it, and it's caught your horn, and that's for me. That's the trouble with VAR, mate.
Well, yeah. I think Scottish football have bought the VAR for wish or something like that, because the way we are implementing it up here it's been shocking, and the way the standard of refereeing again that's
the issue, mate.
That's a showcase game, Ox. That's a showcase game, and that's the kind of standard of refereeing you're getting put in the park.
That's the issue. No, well, VAR's a factor after it, and that's all for debate. If somebody's got a different opinion, if you want VAR to referees the game, the issue there is the referee. What did he see there to say it was a foul for the defender? What did he see?
Yeah, I don't know. He couldn't see the shove, Fox, because for where he was standing either, because it wasn't like Alfie would have had to have put full force pressure on the back of him to put him to the ground. He dived. That's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying. His interpretation is all wrong, and he should have seen. Like it says, the whole thing the last time with Cartix with us, shirt pulling and all the rest of it, he was straight in there with us, going like that penalty. And again, Alfie had a chance. I think it was at one of the corners as well. Johnson's pulling on his shirt again. Nothing said about it. Just wave it on and continue. I mean, you're talking that's another penalty call. I don't want to get into that whole place where we start blaming the referees, Ox, but sometimes, like I says, these decisions can flip a game.
It was atrocious, mate. It was atrocious. And by the way, his performance on Saturday wasn't worse than the game than we wanted him to when Katic got the winner. His performance that day was worse, but that was a close thing.
Mm-hmm. Aye, it was up there, Ox. That says that all day your frustration. No wonder, like I says, people start punching tellies and all the rest of it, Ox, because you're tearing your hair out, because you've got professional players in commentary knowing what's right and wrong, and yet our supposedly top referees can't get it right in the park. Standard stuff. You mean, like I says, the whole Callum McGregor thing.
For him to see that decision, he's obviously had to have seen it. If you accept he's seen it,
mm-hmm.
Right? And so, what did he see that was a foul for them? What did he see was so blatantly a foul for them? Because if he's seen it, yeah, he hadn't
mm-hmm.
seen it, because he's seen it was two guys on each other.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think we've been joined by old David. Evening, David.
Hello, how do you do? This is old David, the boy in blue.
You've been thinking of that all day?
No, I'm just the last year. Aye, how you doing, guys? Good to see you.
Right. All right. How's your Easter, mate? Plenty of chocolate?
Aye, I get rolled down the hill. They kept the eggs up the top and roll through me down the hill. But anyway, I think we're going overboard a bit. I don't think Clancy's worth talking about, guys. I know it's really getting to the point where it is beyond a joke. We all know that. But the bottom line is, we wouldn't have lost that game. The decision with the VAR, we get a decision with the VAR, did we? So we didn't get a goal. That's history. The mistakes we're making. I mean, we've talked about it time after, as you said, it's the same picture. And till we get that sorted out, but I will say one thing, and this will sound a bit on the contradicting myself, but that if I was going to lose a game to that Mankey mob, the way we did there, I would rather have been in that than what will be in the semi-final. Because if they can't get themselves into a position where they are going to get really up for this game, they've got all the... I mean, the ball boys were even tormenting McGregor. So we're getting it in the next day one. But if they've got to take that game and take it into that semi-final, and I'm more than confident we will do them.
Oh, you're right. Davey, I've got a lot of... Not a lot, but I've got positives. The attitude of our team scored collectively going forward to try and get back in the game twice. You know, we got it back 1 each, then we got it back to 3-2 after 2 rickets. Yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
And then we were pushing for an equaliser. What I have got a problem with is, I thought obviously the 2 mistakes were absolutely shocking defending. Ryan Jack, Ryan Kent, were absolutely anonymous, mate. Anonymous. And their 2 were more experienced players were looking for just to get as a 6 or a 7 out of 10, but they weren't. In my opinion, Ryan Jack was a 5.5 out of 10, and if I'm being honest about Ryan Kent, I think he was a 3 or a 4.
You're spot on. Also, the thing is that we can't afford to have players in that frame of mind. We've got to be there, in their face. I mean, if the goals were going away, it's beggars belief. I mean, we're all on about the pass back. Okay, the pass back was woeful. McGregor, when he was a young man, would have been out to that. He can't get out his 6-yard line. The fact being the other end, he stands at his 18-yard box. So he would have got to that burst. And that's a combination between the 2 of them. So that's going to get sorted out, which I think it will. But man for man, I think we've got as good a team as him. But you've got to have 11 on the park.
It wasn't a great pass. Well, it was another square pass with Ryan Jack. It gave Suter the ball.
Yeah.
Ryan Jack should have went forward with the ball, no? Anyway, did we miss Golson, Davey?
That's a catch-22 one, that, isn't it? Probably. But I mean, whether Golson plays or no, were efforts. No, I'm not saying were efforts, but you just named a couple of the players there, and they weren't in again. So, and I thought his substitutions were a wee bit. I don't know where he's coming in that direction at all. That beggars belief. I mean, bring on right. No, for me, our team's screaming out for quality, and that ain't putting quality. Well, okay, we're limited to what we've got on the bench, but we've got to invest, which I heard Big Al talking about it a couple of phone ins ago, and he was spot on about a lot of things he said. But we've not got the treasure chest to get a lot of that, but we can still match that mob, and we've got to get the right ones in, because it's badly needed.
Well, we've also got to clear the decks to, free up some wages. GB?
Like I says, I think after the weekend there, hopefully the manager's seen that his players that he's brought in, Raskin and Cantwell, are doing well. Hopefully Tillman will progress, but the rest of the boys, Alan, again, for the Jota goal, as Davies touched on, could have been out to that 10 years ago, and he wasn't. He's just too old now. Jack, again, game kind of passed him by, and the likes of Kent, I says we can't have a guy in that they kind of wages just running about Ox and doing nothing else. We've got a player probably sitting in the youth system that can be doing that for us. So we've got to get better quality in and freshen up the team. Ox, that's what we're crying out for now.
Aye. All right, we've been joined by John. Evening, John.
How you doing there? But I just put that in mute.
All right, mate. How you doing?
No bad. I just want to talk about Tillman, etc.
Aye, on you go, John. The floor's yours.
I'm not convinced with Tillman. I think he's the so-called $5 million that's been bandied about to get him on a permanent deal. I would say no. What I would do, I think he's too slow and he stumbles on the ball and he gets it. He's not the answer. I would go the 5 so-called million and get Lewis Ferguson in. Because you're talking about a guy there that can score goals and has got 100% effort, same as his namesake Ian Ferguson. Even his uncle and his father says that he's a bigger Rangers fan than they two. What do you think of that?
The first trouble is I don't think 5 million would get you at the moment, mate, if I'm being honest, with the season he's having in Italy.
Well, I think maybe 5 million would sway, but it would cost a few million or enough, you know.
Honestly, I don't. There's rumours about him getting another move over there in the summer. But I get where you're coming from. Boys had a great season, and congratulations to him. But going back to your point about Tillman, I think the problem is, mate, I don't think he's a midfielder. And I think he has to be playing up in the two in a forward partnership, maybe right behind the striker or right up beside him. You know, he's got ability and he scores goals. And again, what happened, it's fast and furious. Well, people are talking quick. GB?
Hi, Ox, I totally agree. Lewis Ferguson, unfortunately, our club never pounced on him a couple of years back. You mean when he was probably out of contract or whatever. I just think now Lewis is got to be moving on to probably other things. You mean other clubs and more money, and it would probably take him to be out of contract to be able to come back to us. The way we are shopping in the current market, John. So, I would love him to see him, but I can't see it this summer, mate. On the point about Tillman, I'm kind of in the same camp as Ox. I think Tillman needs to be up there behind the 10. I think he's scored probably his best goals, especially that game against Motherwell. He was up next to Alfie, closer to him. The game at the weekend there, he was running at a lot of space, but there was no end product in that. And we've touched on earlier, a lot of his shots were, he was just taking a hitting hope a lot of the time. So he's young. That's what I'll say. He showed his inexperience there. When you compare him to the other side and some of the experience they've got in there, then you can kind of give him a bit of slack that side of things. The boy, I think, will come good. Current market value 5 million. I think he's a safe buy in the sense that we will get the money back on him. We're not going to lose money on him.
But I often think he stumbles too much to get it. It takes too long to get off his mark. He stumbles as if he's going to lose the ball too much, you know. I don't think he's swift enough to move forward. I know he's a good player, he's a good finisher, but sometimes you worry about him. He's not as good as he thinks he is, you know. But Lewis Ferguson, I think if he got a sniff, Rangers were interested in him, he would maybe make noises to try and come back home, you know.
You might be right if maybe a generation ago, John, when you could maybe match the football, but if he's going to be moving and see there after where he is, it's not a bigger club over there, mate. We'll not be able to compete anything like the wages he'll be getting, John. You know.
No, I know what you mean. I know.
With the greatest of respect, I mean, obviously. You're always affected by your first love, John. You know what it's like. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And he might be drawn to come back in, but the boys had a good season. They might have missed out on one, and he looks as somebody who can get about the pitch. He can also got a goal threat. He scored headers against us for corner kicks.
That's right. He's a goal threat. I know. He'd be an ideal guy when they freeze it. The Piggery and like that, you know, he'd be right in there non-stop. As I say, similar to his namesake Ian, you know, he'd be right in there.
He'd be a ready-made replacement for Ryan Jack, because he's also Scottish, which is also important for us, John.
I would think don't renew Jack's. If we could get somebody like that, you know, a tried and tested guy. All right. People talk about Rangers men. He'd be ideal now. However, it was only a suggestion. It might take me up 5 million, you know, whether it's gone.
Old Davey's got a few quid. He might help us out there.
Yeah, the Malteser, man.
But Nelson, I mean, I didn't think he had a great game, but I didn't think he was my worst player Saturday, John.
No, I was quite happy with our effort we put in, because usually the freeze there with the no fans, etc. But I think we've done a good account of ourselves for by the horrors of the mistakes, But for by that, we should have maybe got away with a draw. So.
Aye. Well, there were two real bad errors, weren't they? Real bad errors.
Anyhow, thanks for taking the call anyway, Ox.
No, great to hear from you, mate. And the first time call, it's not difficult, is it?
No, it's quite easy. I've listened to your show for years anyway. I've always tried to come in. I was going to come in with another Jim Forrest story, but I know you've no time for all that.
No, you give us your Jim Forrest story before we move on, mate. Man, it should be in the Hall of Fame. You tell us it before you go, Jim.
Well, I went to school with Forrest. I played football with him, and he went right through the cards, and him and his cousin Alec, and they always said that careers officer, he wanted to play for a full-time professional football player. And when it came to legends getting inducted into the Hall of Fame as such, I mean, that guy scored 57 goals in one season. 57 goals, that's unbelievable. And still never get inducted into the Hall of Fame. He was him and Big Dandy were scapegoats after the Berwick game, right enough. And I felt that was kind of... I followed his career, right? As I said, I played school football with him, And he played with Glasgow schools, Scotland schools, right through Dunchapel amateurs, all the way up, And I just felt that was a bit unfair not to put him in the Hall of Fame,
We couldn't agree more. In fact, I don't know if you know, John, a couple of years ago, we started a petition up to get him into the Hall of Fame.
I don't think he keeps too clever now anyway.
No,
he's not a guy that made a lot of money with true football.
No, a different generation, but he's also, obviously, as you well know, he's getting on in years and his health's not the best at the moment.
That's correct.
He's a guy that should be in the Rangers Hall of Fame, no doubt in that, my opinion.
He'd be about ages with me. He'd be about 78 for us,
There you go, Davey. See, you're not the oldest one on here.
Well said, John. John, I totally agree with every word you said. God bless you.
I can mind as a boy, and I stayed in Dennis, and I went to the League Cup final in 1957. And in the days, you could walk round the park. So I was at the Rangers then, we were getting beat 3-0 at half time. And I says, I'm away round to Aikenhead Road to get a trolley bus into High Street. And I ended up at the Celtic end. The days, they kept the passageways clear. And I was walking up there, and I turned round, and Billy Simpson scored a flashing header, made it 3-1, and I was cheering, and the whole place was silent. And I realised I was in the second end. There was guys spitting towards me and all that, the Celtic fans, and I went, oh, geez, it wasn't that I got on the trolley bus, I realised the score went up to 4-1, 5-1, I went, oh, geez, But I often think Big Terry Butcher says, the only way to appease the Rangers fans is 1-9 in a row, and T-Colley's that 7-1 defeat. And we've done the 9 in a row. We've hit a few 5s. They've actually beat 6 past us. We've never hit the 7 yet. So I was hoping to live long enough to get that 7 by them, but live in hope.
I hope so. Great to speak to you, John, mate. Great to speak to you.
It's good to get through, Oxley. Nice talk to you. I'll listen to the rest of the show.
Cheers, John. Cheers.
Right. Bye now.
Thanks, John.
Well said, John. Well said.
Can you not take a leaf out of his book, Davey, and be a gentleman when you come on here?
I try my best. It never seems to cheer you a lot up. But it's great to hear guys like that. I mean, it's because he's only a couple of years older than me, and that's when your football is football. And then what we've got now is just a lottery regarding how the game's played, the way it's played, the decisions that I've got. It's John's and me have got a different vision of what football is. Unfortunately, we are where we are.
Aye, Sam. What did you make his point on Tillman, David? What do you think of Tillman?
You can look at that in a couple of different ways. You're judging that young guy who is only a young guy. And that, I think, is pretty hard to do at that age, especially when you're comparing him, what he's like against the Celtic. A lot of other games, everybody's been raving about the boy, and I'm one of them. He's got talent. He has got talent. It's just a matter of getting him on to another level. I mean, we all talk about Sakala. When's he going to learn when he's offside?
I know, mate. That frustrates you, doesn't it?
But it
Listen,
gives you everything.
talking about people who's got talent, who would give you everything if they could. But enjoying the Big Al. Evening, Big Al.
Thanks very much for that. That was lovely. And your summation of the game was spot on at the beginning of the show there. Still very, very frustrating. It's the same old thing, isn't it? It's Groundhog Day every time you see me to play them. The Malik Tillman thing, look, I think he's a luxury that if 5 million, if that day figures are reportedly right, 5 million, it's a luxury that we cannot afford. Like you're saying, we've got the new boy in for Norwich, similar type of player. He's our player. I think he's got a bit more experience. I think you get him a run in the team. He does the same job, and I think he's obviously got a lot more dig about him. I think he's quicker on his feet than Tillman.
He's not got the same numbers. I mean, Tillman's
he's only just in the team.
Aye, but Tillman's goal return and assists are all right for a young boy. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying by any way he's a bad player. What I'm saying is he'd be a luxury at the moment. It's not a player that. I mean, if we were on the back of winning 5 in a row, winning cups, getting runs in Europe, it's a player obviously that you would like to bring into your squad, and he would add value to the squad. But no, at the moment, he's not a player that we could afford to. But it's just my opinion. That we could afford to put an outlay of 5 million on a player like that. I said it earlier, Big Al. I think one of the troubles is we've still got this issue with this right side of our midfield forward area. And
that's been like since Candias left, is it not?
Seems to be, mate. And the boy Campbell played at them. He showed. He done some nice things. I mean, he done a move in the first half, GB, when he skipped past 2 of them, and then he gave it away with a cheap pass. But he's another one who's got ability. And it's only my opinion. If they're playing him in the midfield, you'd play the 2 of them in front of 2 sitters, and Tillman and Cantwell would be playing in the same position. That's the problem. And then GB can come in.
Well, like we've said here a million times, what is it? Square pegs and round holes. Maybe. You know what I mean? They're playing. You'll get a shift out of players when you play them in a different position, but they're not playing to their full 100% potential because they're having to adapt slightly to a different position, and you might get lucky. They might have a good game, but to me, definitely that's an area of the park we need to strengthen. The whole front line, mate, has to be strengthened. It's midfield needs to be strengthened, and I think the defence needs to be strengthened, and the goalkeeper. It's the same, but we're singing the same song for the last 5-6 years.
My first signing would be a goalkeeper.
Aye. Look, I love McGregor. I think McGregor's a wonderful character, wonderful goalkeeper. Is he the best? Well, that's debatable. Great servant, unbelievable servant. I take it if you cut his arm off, he'd bleed blue. But unfortunately, as you say yourself, your favourite quote: "The sands of time wait for no man." So we need to. But would we not need 2 goalkeepers?
Maybe you might be right. You need to get one. We
need one anyway. I mainstay. We need to get one.
And you come, GB?
I own the goalkeeper situation. It's definitely. I would probably agree with you. We need 2. I mean, it depends how the manager's got to do the whole goalkeeping position now that we can probably say that it's certainty that the league's probably too well without our grasp now, and I think it's time to hopefully get young McCrory in, or if it has to be Big John McLaughlin again. We've got to see what these boys have got before the end of the season, because he's got a decision to make there. McGregor made a couple of great saves at the game as well at the weekend, but again, as you've seen with the Jota thing, Jota was able to sprint and snatch the ball, and a younger goalkeeper, I think, would be coming out and smothering that. You mean, and saving his teammate. You mean, saving John Souttar for that embarrassment. The Tillman point. I mean, I'm happy with how the midfield was looking Saturday. It did look as though it had a wee bit more energy, but Raskin was amazing. I thought that boy had a brilliant game. Cantwell, I think, will get better. He was a wee bit, I think, fired up at the weekend, maybe trying too hard. Some of these challenges and stuff like that were a bit tasty. I mean, which is what we want, but we don't want him centre half either. I mean, so I think it will come, but I think we need to find it probably comes back to the tactics of the manager. We've questioned the manager on substitutions. We're probably now having to question the tactics. We need to find a way to bring Tillman and Cantwell into the team because they are two good talents. They've got quality, and it's going to be hard for us to shop in the market that we're shopping in to find more quality.
How do we have to find a way for them? You're right. As you're a manager, you've got to build your best team, know your best players.
But that's what we're saying, Oxley. We've not got the budget to go out and buy hundreds of good players. I mean, so we've got to use what we can. I mean, let's say if I've got a Tillman there who couldn't bring his goals and assists, then he's worth the $5 million. But we need to find a way to get him in the team. We can't go out there and...
I like Tillman, but I think some of the problems is him and Cantwell playing the same area, mate.
But I think in past, though, Tillman's been more out in the left. Maybe, hopefully, if Kent does leave, we can push him into Kent's position. I would like to see him on that kind of side. But
Tillman,
for me, like I said, I got
Tillman.
No, Tillman. Cantwell. Cantwell.
Don't see it, mate. He's a midfielder. He's a midfielder, but Kent plays.
No, he played that. He's played that side with Norwich before as well. So he's a utility player, Rox.
He's not played one up, mate. He's not played one up.
No, I know. But he's played in that position before.
You're not listening to me. He's played in the left and the midfield. He's not played up front.
No, but he's played in Horwich up front. I mean,
right, used to behave.
He's not played up front.
That's when he was doing his best. When he was scoring all the goals, he was up front. He was up the forward line.
Come on, do your research.
I agree to this.
Do your research.
Come on.
Well, he'll need to go and watch Norwich when he was getting touted.
Are you going to tell me because he had the number 11 on, he was playing in the same position as Kent? Is that what you're telling me?
You watched when he was scoring the goals. He was playing on the left side, coming in.
So when James Tavernier scored that heater on Saturday, he was playing it outside left then?
Well, he was merely a forward, I would say, on Saturday than he was a defender.
Cantwell play the midfield.
Great.
Right.
He's an attacking midfielder then.
Aye, same as Tillman. Thank you.
But can play in the left.
Yes, and the right.
Yes.
And the right. I was going to say that. And the right. And through the middle.
Aye. And we can turn him into a striker.
Okay, thank God we put that to bed.
But I'll tell you what, as much as I didn't think Cantwell and Tillman, I thought they were passable and no great. I thought at times they'd done some good stuff. And I thought the boy Raskin was our best player. The guy we're looking for who let them down was Ryan Jack. He was atrocious.
Look at you know my feelings. I'm up and down with Ryan Jack. I mean, I think the day I seen him crying on the park, I would have got rid of him. But like that's just me. I noticed in the game. I thought when they did get a wee bit pressure back on us, we started to play that ball back away again. It kind of went out our game for a good few weeks. His pass for that goal to Souttar, that was shocking. So I think Ryan Jack's run his race. I mean, you could keep him, and I like that's what I'm saying. But I think he just ran his race. He's done what we're going to get out of him. But he's not going to be any better player than you see. So thanks very much, Ryan Jack. See you later. We need players that are going to take us to the next level and improve us. If you could get somebody with that kind of mould that only passes the ball forward, great. That's what we need to look at. That's what we need to look at. Raskin, same again. Raskin, it's the first time I've really watched him. I thought he'd done some good things, but I still think he's still finding his feet. So I think there's a lot of improvement will come there. I think that will naturally come with that young boy. But also, he's as good as the players that run about him. If he's passing a ball to somebody that's going to pass the ball back away, it makes his play null and void. You know what I mean? He needs to be able to pass that ball to someone that's going to drive forward or somebody that's going to put it in the net. But I think he looks a player. He looks a good player. He looks industrious. He looks like he's not going to take any shit, if that makes sense as well. He's got a wee bit of dig about him. So I think he's been a really good acquisition actually, and Cantwell as well. I think he same again. I think the two of them might have tired slightly towards the end, but I think both of them have got experience. I mean, he's played at a really high level. By all accounts, the boy lost his way. Well, now we can steer him in the right path moving forward. Look, I'm gonna go, guys. I've got a few things I need to get up to, but thanks for taking my call.
Cheers, big man.
Keep it. Aye, no, thank you very much. Take care. All the best.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, bye-bye.
We've been joined by our Bobby. How we doing, Bobby boy?
Not bad, mate, but I'm still angry for Saturday. It's unacceptable. First of all, I've got 3 complaints. First one, how Morelos' goal was never given, I will never know. His number 20 was up at his shoulders. The guy was pulling him. And the second one is Shooter's pass. Shooter played all right for us, considering. But Shooter's pass with McGregor, he looked about 60 coming out of goals, no 40 odds. He looked about 60. He could go Shooter out of trouble, but he never. And the third one is Ken. I'd transfer him now. I wouldn't give him another game tomorrow.
Right. Bobby, did you listen to the start of the show?
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. GB.
Aye, Ox, I think and Bobby, the weekend it kind of did highlight to us that a few players have run their race. I think the clinical our team is shocking. We need players in there that are going to score goals. We've got a guy Kent just run about making it hard. We've got Morelos hitting in hope. We've got Sakala constantly offside. I mean, Sakala and stuff like that will be good squad players against Motherwell and all the rest of it, but we're needing clinical players up that front forward line. So it's important to us that we freshen it up.
Right, going back to Bobby's points about the goal, the Suter in Kent. Over to you, GB.
Bobby's point on the Suter's goal, the back pass.
Bobby,
I thought he was meaning about Kent.
Bobby 3 statements, didn't he? The statement about the Morelos goal, the back pass for Suter, and Kent's performance.
Kent's performance, I touched on there, obviously. I know where his destination should be. Suter's goal, again, back pass, blind pass. Shouldn't be doing it, especially in an all-firm game. But overall, let's face it, boy put into the deep end. I did think he looked good on Saturday, apart from the kind of some dodgy pass and that ricochet. He had off Ben Davies as well. I was worried about that, as if that was going to go in for a goal.
If Suter hadn't made that pass, would you say he done well for us? If he hadn't made that pass, considering we know he's no fit.
Considering the game time and all that as well, Ox. Aye, he had a great game. And then obviously, what was the last point? Sorry, Ox.
Ryan Kent.
I was saying it about Kent.
So
that's you, Bobby. You're all answered, mate.
Bobby, the questions were too tough for our GB. Don't give them 3 in a row. One at a time. That right, GB?
Aye, mate. I need to digest each player because, like I says, I'm thinking about 100 points for each person.
One at a time, Bobby. You're not being fair. If you want to ask 3 questions, ask them to me. You know what I mean?
Right, man.
Right, but Bobby, I couldn't agree with you more. I thought that it was a goal all day long, and what Clancy's seen, I just only he'll know what he did see in the decision, and the whistle was blown. And then on the second one, I think with the sort of bad back pass, it started with a pass that puts Suter in a wee bit of trouble, and we should have cleared our lines, and this came back to the goalie. There's also an easy option. Eventually get caught out or there'll be a mistake made. Sometimes you just put the ball at park me, you know, and you clear your lines. And Brian Kent, I thought he was atrocious, mate. Absolutely atrocious at Saturday. Davey?
Well, you've said everything there. It's everything you've said was spot on. It's just how do we eradicate that? And the only good thing about that coming out on Saturday is that would have been 10 times worse if that had been the semi-final and we had lost like that. So we've got to learn from that, and they've got to get that between their teeth for the next game. And we've got to be able to handle, I still say it, we don't handle their press. We did a bit better on Saturday, but we've not got the quality players that can get through them. And that sticks out like a sore thumb.
You come, Bobby, before we go to the tune, mate. Last word for you before we go.
I don't know. I'm still absolutely angry. I'm angry with the tactics, even with the substitutions. That game was crying out for an Arfield when they put them on. It was crying out for somebody not to bring on Wright. That. But listen, I don't like the boy Wright. And putting on Lundstrom and putting on Big Cola, he's done absolutely nothing. So I don't know where Bill's getting it wrong, but we need to start pressuring them. And the boy Campbell and Raskin, they were fine, but it's a boy Tillman. I'm still not too sure about against Celtic. And I don't care what somebody says, whether he's a good player against Motherwell. My opinion is we've got to beat Celtic, and I don't even see where we're going to beat them in the Scottish Cup. I can't see it. We'll make the same mistakes, we'll make the same substitutions, and we'll do the same thing.
Well, hopefully you're wrong. Get yourself on mute, because we're going to have a tune.
Sailed the wild Atlantic, across the broad Pacific shore. I sailed around the stormy capes, and I've heard the forties roar. I've climbed the Indian Ocean, and I've sailed the China Sea. But there's a sea back home in Scotland, more than all the rest to me. It's the blue, blue, blue sea of my rock. The greenest sight that I have ever seen. It's the blue, blue, blue sea of my love. And it's not all that really just there free. No more I'll sail the seven seas, no more I'll ever roam. No more I'll feel the earth again. I'm back where I belong. shape that I have ever seen. It's the routine of my love. And it's my soul that really gets clear through. And it's my soul that really gets clear through.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Right, okay. Well, back, gentlemen. And
Yep.
all day.
Yeah.
Yep, all here.
Bobby, do you know, I agree with you. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think we've got a problem with Cantwell and Tillman on the park at certain games. They both give mobility and they've got ability. But the problem we've also got is we've got Glenn Kamara and John Lundstrom, two of our most experienced midfielders. And let's be honest, the managers couldn't have fancied anything going and influence that game because he gave John Lundstrom so little time. I would have started with Lundstrom personally, but I think there was a time for him to come on after about an hour because you could see people tiring him in midfield, and that gives me cause for concerns going forward, Bobby.
What gives me concern for going forward? We don't seem to know what we're doing. We bring on the same substitutes and Kolak for Morelos and this for that and that for this and Wright for I don't know who. But the point is, that game was screaming out for an Arfield for the last 10 minutes. This to put us, may have got draw, I don't know. But it was screaming out for an Arfield and they never put him on. So something tells me they're a wee bit scared of Celtic and they don't want to. To me, Bill was happy with 3-2. It's as simple as that.
I think the thing is, mate, that you've got to be able to change your shape in a game of football. I mean, when you take half Morelos and Cholak, light for light, mate, you've just gone with the exact same shape. If we'd have thrown Suter up front and went for the last 5 minutes and tried to get a goal, you might not like it, but it's something different. Sometimes you've got to try things different, mate, and but light for light all the time, mate. You need to think outside the box. That's what you get paid a lot of money for. Now, I had no problem with his starting 11. And I think when it was one each, up to about an hour, we were in the ascendancy. But you could see people visibly tired in GB. And that was the time to make the changes. And it was the next 10 minutes when the game ran away from us.
It was surprising, especially with the experienced coaches that we've got next to Bill. I mean, he's number 2 was working with Arsene Wenger and that, and I don't know. Surely he should be whispering in his ear and saying, "Look, we need to change this up, even tactically." That's the thing, Knox. You've touched on that as well. Like Bill's in the past couple of weeks been trying that 3 at the back and then going 5 in midfield. He never done that. He just stuck to the same system. And as Bobby touched on, it was like for like substitutions. But we're doing like for like substitutions with 9 minutes. We're giving them, in fact, on the clock at the time, it was 84 minutes. So technically, we're only giving the guys 6 minutes. But also with added on time, it gave them about 9. I mean, then you're just like, come on. Like, what are you expecting out of these guys? A wee flash goal? Or don't get me wrong, I think Kent, see when Kent was through, and had Sakala and Alfredo. I think it was 3-3. I think, like I said, if he made the right decision there, then it could have put his level. I mean, but I don't know. Again, fresh legs might have made a better decision there. If you're taking Kent off, maybe putting Sakala out to the left, and then you've got a fresh Cholak there. Saw efforts and maybes, but he's got to do it sooner, and he's got to really learn again for this. Because
Linda said it last week, mate. The problem with us going forward, we're breaking away. We don't make the right decisions. Sakala made the wrong run. Kent made the wrong pass. and we never got a shot away. It was 3-on-2, by the way. 3-on-2, and we never got a shot away. Yeah, and they get back and obviously snuffed us out. Between Morelos and Kent, we were through and goal and never got a shot away. It was Davy. Do you remember the incident?
Aye. Oh, aye. Well, you're dead right. You're spot on. But I mean, you can't do anything about that. That's up to the attitude of the players. I mean, we're talking here about substitutions and things like that. You've got to change a formation. You've got to have quality to bring on, and we do not have that, guys. We've got people there that have run their race, like it or lump it. They can't be there any longer. And what we've got on the bench is they're not going to come on and make wonders and change everything because they've not got the quality. But that will come. I can guarantee it will come. But you've got to give them a bit of time to get that kind of quality around about them. And it's Tillman. Tillman will be a great player. You get people that are right players around about him. And he's not got that there now. Well, we're lacking that, and it sticks out like a sore thumb.
But see, all I'm saying is, right, you're not always all going to have Messi on the bench, mate. But you're talking about a light-for-light substitution on Saturday, right? Right. If you just take the game in isolation, the game on Saturday, you could have swapped you could have swapped Sakala for Kent and Lundstrom for Jack after an hour because it owned their performance on the day, mate.
Correct.
And that's what worries me going forward, Bobby, that they couldn't see that. The two of them were stinking. It used to be if you were stinking, you get substituted when there was 2 subs. Now there's 5, you get left on, Bobby.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know why he didn't change after 60 minutes and say, right, Kent, you're off. But I'm led to believe that Kent's one of Beale's favourites and doesn't matter what the guy does. But it's not acceptable to Rangers fans. He's walking about there as a pedestrian and put Lundstrom on for Jack and let's see what we can do. But no, we just keep 84 minutes and pulling. What's he trying to achieve?
I get it, mate. I get it. I think it was too late for his substitutions, GB, and we've talked about that already on here, haven't we?
Aye, Ox, we've went to it, and what I say is probably, like say, the boys that are out of contract, it's probably good for them and it'll be good for the club that they move on. You mean, I think Kent's stagnated, Ox. I think that's the problem as well. I think the Scottish League knows him now, knows his tricks and stuff like that. I think it would be beneficial for Kent to move on. I mean, for the sake of his career. But substitutions wise, Ox, the manager's really got to look at it. If he's been kind of consistent that way, where he's been late with the substitutions. Granted, some of them have dug him out a hole in some of the games, Ox, but I mean, I don't know. The all-firm game is where it matters, and Matt says when you've got 5 guys there, 5 people worth of talent, 5 fresh legs, Ox, why not use it? I mean, what was the worst that's going to happen? It stays at 3-2. You know what I mean?
Listen, here's my rationale. If I was a manager, it looked to me as if I thought he was my best player, but it still looked as if he'd ran his race with a young boy Raskin. Whether you like it or no, Raskin for Kamara, arguably you're going light for light. Lundstrom for Jack, light for light. You're refreshing the engine room, and Sakala for Kent, and you've still got 2 more substitutions to make. And I would have brought on Sherlock and Darfield trying to get a goal personally. Anyway, we'll be joined by Smurf. Evening, Smurf.
Hi, evening everybody, evening Ox.
Hey, Smurf, how you doing?
I wasn't going to ring up, but just listening to what you're saying, even going back to your earlier point, Ox, where, just change it up, try something different, have a bit of invention. You'll remember when we played Milan, and it might be 84, 85, I think we got a 3-0 down there. We won 3-0 at Ibrox. 3-1 at Ibrox.
I've seen the DVD, mate.
Okay. So,
You mean the
you
7th
remember
of,
that game?
the
Scott
7th
Wallace.
of November? You mean the 7th of November 1984, mate?
Was it 84, was it?
I even gave you the date, mate.
Aye, so
Google
that
that.
night, Big Wallace, Big Wallace started with John McClelland up front.
Next day, who was he next day?
Ian Ferguson, maybe.
Davy Mitchell.
Davy Mitchell, was it? Ferguson scored. Who didn't he?
Aye, but if you're going to come on here, Smith, at least do your homework, huh?
I'm going to have to tell my head. Right, so...
Bobby
But the point is, you're right. Try something. And in terms of the boy Tillman, bags of ability and whatever. But I just don't see how he can play out wide right. He can't play in midfield. To me, he's a 10. And if he can't play as a 9, if he can only play as a 10, I don't see that. I agree with Big Al. If he's that niche player that he can only play as a 10, I don't know if I'd sign him.
If you were going to get 20 goals a season from Malik Tillman, you'd sign him.
Aye, you would, aye.
You would if you played him. He's only a boiler in his trade. Listen, I've got concerns like everybody about some of our players and all that. My concern with Tillman is it's simple for me. Bobby, he wants to deviate, he wants to play for us, and he's got a bit between his teeth to take it. But at the moment, what I'm picking up is it's a boy's decision, and we'll see where it takes us. And you come, Bobby, and then we'll go back to Smith.
It's where it takes us, but I'm just not convinced that Celtic's his game. To me, he's a good player, but it's just too rough for him, and he's not up to that. He's not used to that. He doesn't actually grasp it. That you need to get in. You need to go right through these people, and he didn't seem to grasp that. And that's what we're looking for.
They went right through him, Bobby, the weekend, didn't they? They targeted Tillman at the weekend.
They've done it again.
No.
They know what they're doing. They've done it. I mean, McGregor should be off the park, but that's another story.
That's a fact. I agree with you, Oxy. We should have been off the park, but anyway, you can sort of tear it apart all you want. And what concerns me going forward is before he even looks at bringing players in, he's already said he wants to get rid of maybe half a dozen players that won't get replaced due to the size of the squad. That's then he's going to then make his additions once he's get rid of the players that he doesn't want that are left. I just don't know where I just hope they've got the money for the step up in quality, because it's like you say, we've got 3-2. Kent makes a wrong decision, Sakala makes a wrong run. As much as you love them, and as you look at past games where Kent's been in fire, and you go, God, get that version of him. You keep him. Sakala playing with Smiley, full endeavour, all the rest of it. They're just not good enough. They're just not good enough. And players at that calibre are 3, 4, and 5, and 6, and 7 million pounds. That is what they cost. That is their market value. So what concerns me is how we're going to replace like for like. As in terms of an upgrade.
Listen, as much as Ryan Kite's got ability, and we know he's had some outstanding games, mate. And this is going to sound really radical, Bobby. And then David can come in and GB. If Scott Wright played the same amount of minutes as often as Ryan Kent would, he would have more goals.
I think so. To me, Kent can go away anytime. That would concern me. I used to like Ryan Kent, but he's done. He's just a passes now. And you're right. Right, probably would have scored more goals.
And I'm no lover of Scott Wright. If I'm
no, I know them are.
But I'm just saying that Kent's numbers are atrocious, Davey.
It's there to be seen that that's the case. But he keeps on playing him, but he's only playing him on the hope that he's going to turn up one day. And if he does turn up, you maybe get 15 minutes of him. And you can't have 15 minutes against Celtic. You've got to go hammer and tong.
And Mrs. All Davy keeps on the go with you, hoping that you'll perform like you did in the past, but it doesn't always happen, does it?
Yeah. You've got to shake a tree. You've got to shake a tree.
GB?
I agree. I would imagine Scott would probably get a goal. It's just whether he's got the same kind of tracking back and defending in him. But overall, we're needing goals first and foremost, and that's what we're expecting for the forward line. We're not expecting them to do the dirty work. We're expecting them to get us up the park and create a chance. And like I says, I think Southside's touched on it a lot, Ox, with the whole running about and stuff like that. And for me, it's starting to get to that point now with Kent that it would be better all round that he moves on, Buffalo moves on, Jack moves on, McGregor moves on. Everybody that's out of contract showed me at the weekend that it's time to freshen up this squad. They've got to move on, and we've got to get more signings in, like say the Raskins and Cantwell's, Ox. That's it. As much as we're
80 GB, listen to this, 85 games he started in 6 substitutes appearances, so that's 91 games. Sorry, let me just make sure that's 6 substitutes appearances. 3 substitutes, so that's a total 98 games. 88 games in this season and last season. 6 goals, mate. 6 goals. That's a forward player. That's a guy who plays one forward for where Cantwell plays, GB. 6 goals. It's atrocious.
Shocking, Ox. Again, like I says, clinical, it comes down to in ability. I think Smurf's touching on it. Like, we've probably just been living off of the memories sometimes of these players that what they've gave us in certain games, but there comes a time that sometimes, let's say in the old days, we would sign a Scottish player like say a Billy Dodds or something like that, who would get us more goals than what a guy would be looking good on the ball. I mean, it might just come down to that we might just have to go out and get somebody that will get us goals in these messy games, because like I says, if the right pass is made to the right player, as long as they're clinical, then I'm not caring. As long as they can put the ball in the back of the net, that's all I'm looking for.
No, his stats are atrocious. Let's look at a big positive. Tav gets a lot of flack at times. Boy, did that guy nearly drag us back into that match single-handedly, along with the young boy Raskin, if we're being fair. Supported by Suter and Davis up to the two of them. Had a mad 10 minutes, but he scored an absolute gem with a free kick. Got a great header for a good Barisic cross, and then was so close to making it 3 each. Smurf then, Bobby.
He was. Sometimes I worry, about the captain material and all that. We sort of game of ping pong with a guy, and 1 minute you're all for him and then you're against him. But certainly, he showed yesterday the best side, the best version of himself, and so I started, and he was, getting into that position, and for that header was brilliant, and then when he scored the goal, he wasn't dilly-dallying, he was urging his teammates to sort of focus and try and get another goal, even though it's a draw is the best you can get, the league's away. He was showing the right attitude and the right mentality, and I thought it was brilliant yesterday. The other day, I thought it was good.
Bobby?
Yeah, but to my half the guy, I've been one of his criticisers in past times, but by Christ, he got out of jail yesterday and he nearly got a draw, but that, don't forget, Obs, that's your right back. What's your forwards doing? That's your right back that's got to get us out of jail all the time.
I know, mate. I mean, Morelos had a couple of efforts, a goal chopped off with one shot for Tillman that I remember. Kent, I don't think any shots that I can remember. Cantwell, Raskin, Jack, Nain, so it was only, that was about it. That was all. I mean, he was so close to getting a hat trick.
But obviously there was one in the second half and Morelos was right through at Hart. Now, if that was a big guy, Roof, he'd have put that away. But what does Morelos do? He blasts it again. Instead of placing it, he blasts it against Hart.
That's what I said. I should have side-fitted it in the opposite corner, Bobby.
Uh-huh.
No, but I would have done, Bobby.
What?
I would have turned round and back-heeled it in. That's what I would have done. No, I mean,
all right.
Ops, can I say, Hoof's just been in for an operation and he calf, I believe. See, that's a troublesome injury he's had. He's getting into his last year. Assuming he comes through pre-season all right, would you try and offload him in the close season, or would you let him run down that contract and that?
See that? Who was that?
Roof. He's been in for an op, hasn't he?
He's done, mate, but when's he going to be fit, mate? I mean, we paid him what, approximately nearly £3 million the last 2 years. He's hardly kicked a ball, mate.
That's what I'm saying. It's a complete rebuild, isn't it? When you think about it, from back to front. You said it yourself earlier. That engine room, before you're asking, was tiring. Jack never kicked a ball. And the two lights for lights at the bench, and they wouldn't bring them on. They two have got to be off as well.
Oh, looks that way. And you've also got to think that watching the selections in the last few weeks, that he doesn't fancy Cholak, David, does he?
I think, I mean, everybody's getting on to that guy's case about this, and I don't think Cholak gets the proper service that he needs for that type of game he plays. And if that doesn't happen, he's going to look just ordinary. You criticise the guy, but you watched him prior to all that. When we were getting the ball in the box, tracking passes to him, he was taking all the chances. He's not getting that. He's having to come out too far.
Happened to the Motherwell game, I thought he was playing reasonably well, if I'm being honest. GB then he had a bit of a stinker, was trapped, and then he's disappeared again.
It's concerning because, again, the managers, I don't think he's been fair to a couple of players. We've touched on Cholak, but even Scotty Arfield, Ox, I mean, get a call at the weekend, they would have probably dug in more than what Scott Wright did. I mean, I don't, this is what's going to end up causing a lot of heat for the manager. As much as I'm enjoying how he's building that midfield and stuff like that, Ox, he's got to, he can't have your top goal scorer sitting on the bench. I mean, that's right, isn't it? He's our leading goal scorer. And he got 9 minutes against Celtic in probably one of the most important games of the season. That's not fair to him, Ox. And especially, like you say, how he's been playing recently against Hibs and the what was it, Kilmarnock, I think it was, as well. I mean, it's not fair on him. And again, we'll end up losing him. It'll end up, if that's going to be the road that goes down and Cholak starts to feel as if he's going to be a player that's getting used as and when, then he'll look for a move. I mean, and I honestly think Cholak's better than most strikers that we've seen at Ibrox in the recent years. I would give him the number one shot and try and build round about him. Try and, like I says, the whole Tillman thing that we're talking about tonight, get Tillman close to Cholak, see what can happen. He's got to look at the tactics, Ox, because, like I says, that's been letting him, especially that second half, he could have changed the tactics a wee bit to try and getting us back into that game, or getting us at least 2 goals. I mean, it's Celtic were there, Celtic were shaky, and like I says, it's probably been a couple of slip-ups that's cost us that game. But for me, the manager's still not showing that he's taking learnings for the previous games.
I think the manager, I'll give the manager credit. I think the manager got it right up until the players started to tire, Bobby.
Well, he got it right and he didn't get it right. To me, Morelos, he's done his time. There's a big guy quality I want to see, but you need to supply, as the other caller said, you need to supply the big guy. If he's just going to put him up there on his own, he's not going to do nothing. Simple. But the point is, the wee Japanese guy, a minute, he wasn't even in the game, yet he popped up and scored 2 goals. That's what we need. Somebody will score a goal.
But you have to for him to be a goal scorer, to be a finisher, just a finisher. You need people to supply you, and we're not making enough chances, Bobby.
Exactly.
We're not scoring enough goals. Smurf?
I just think, to that point, I think the system that we're playing, I think it negates Cholak, if I'm being honest. I think a 4-3-3, where he's getting good supply, good quality, high quality, top class supply for the wings. Basically, the way we were playing when Gerrard first came, I think it's got a barrel load, and that's what they play, 4-3-3, heavily reliant on the wingers, and it's always that cut back. It's the same goal every week they score, but we don't have that quality to deliver that. We just don't. So we're playing that other system. We're playing with a 10, and I think that's what I don't think that would suit him. But no, he's got to do something different. You've got 2 guys in your forward line that are off at the end of the season. We've got a cup to play for. And other than that, he's got to be thinking about next season, how he's going to want to line up, how he's going to want to play. And the systems, people say, well, doesn't matter, systems don't matter. Well, they do matter, because they dictate the type of player that you purchase and that you buy. And so he needs to be clear on how he wants to play, the system he wants to play, so that he can get the right players in. I would agree that Cholak, he's not a fair crack at it, in my opinion.
Going back to the boy Raskin, I don't think the boy can be fully match fit. I'm not saying he's no fit, GB. If there's meant to come for him, I'm looking forward to seeing it.
So it was brilliant to see a player breaking up their play. You know what I mean? And that's what he done. He takes the ball cleanly. He doesn't go in with pure rash challenges to get the ball back. He's able to go in there, tackle the ball, and turn and go forward. I mean, it's brilliant to see a player that wants to drive forward with the ball. And some of his passing Ox. I mean, like I says, the one that he put in for Alfredo. And again, it was just purely down to pace that he couldn't get there, Alfredo. But the boy's got a bit of vision about him. He's nice with the ball at his feet. And like I says, I just think the boy just needs time. And I think, as we've touched on, right players round about him, he will be in a winning Rangers team at some point, Ox. It's just, like I says, we just need to get the tactics right. We need to get the right players and we need to get the tactics right, because we're probably a couple of mistakes away from. If we take the mistakes away, then we're closer. That game's a lot closer. It looks a lot better at the end of the day. You know what I mean? I just think we allowed them to look good again, and that's I think where the frustration sets in.
There you go, Gio. Let's be honest about it. Right, okay. Rangers have released a statement while we've been on air. Firstly, Rangers condemns in the strongest terms any abuse of match officials. We're all passionate about our game, but targeting personal abuse of referees cannot be tolerated. The club can confirm that the Scottish FA have responded in regards to a disallowed Alfredo Morelos goal. With the response, they're laughing at the back, with the response claiming the correct decision was taken. The club is astonished by this, especially given most observers, including former referees and former players, could see no issue with the goal standing. This comes calling a weekend in England where the PGMOL have offered an apology to Brighton Hove Albion for the non-award of a penalty in their match with Tottenham Hotspur, alongside a pledge to review the incident. Though an apology does not alter the outcome of a match, such responsibility and openness would be welcome in Scotland. Right. Well, it was a goal. It was a goal all day long and twice on a Sunday. Davy?
See, regarding that statement, what if you've got it there written, well, a copy of it, I would suggest you take it, wrap it up, and flush it down the lavy pan, because that's all it means. Nothing. And it says SFA means nothing to me. And if you're wanting an opinion, you can't get an opinion for that mob. They just do not like us. Bottom line. That's it. You know, we're where we are. Where we are, the new boys, is we're all looking for instant success here. Now, we went through a big transition here. The managers, players coming in, and we're looking for instant success. Sorry, guys, it doesn't work that way. You've got to just wait to lay bed on a bit, and we're wanting it just to happen. Doesn't happen tomorrow. I'm not happy. It doesn't work like that, guys. So we've just got to bear with it now and get on with it.
Go back to the statement that came for the club, GB.
Aye, brilliant, Ox. Good to see a wee bit of bite back to the reply for the SFA. I mean, if that's the SFA standards, then we've got to worry. I mean, like I says, it was a showcase game at the weekend, and that's the standard of refereeing that they think's acceptable. I mean, our game's got no hope. I mean, we're talking about our game. What's it got to be like when teams are trying to fight relegation and try to get promotion, and they're accepting that kind of refereeing? And if that's the way it's going, then that's the way they've got to be teaching referees to referee a game. And it's dire how the standards of slip talks. I can mind a time that the refereeing was actually not too bad. But sadly, you've seen referees leave our league. And now you know why, because they're probably shaking their head at some of the decisions and the teachings that they're passing on to these refs.
Smurf?
I'm just glad that we've been critical, first and foremost. We've been critical of the club, certain people have, that, you know, they've not been certain characters within the club, certain directors or whatever, no coming out and fight the club's corner or whatever. So it's good to see that they're taking action and that they're publicising it, you know. And as fans, if you can see that they're taking these things seriously and they're taking issue with it, then that's, it doesn't change the outcome, but at least you see a board that's got our club's best interests at heart, and long may it continue. I'm glad they've done it, and long may. And do you know another thing? See, that was not a goal. It's got to be a penalty.
Well, yeah. He set the standard. He set the standard with the penalised cartage, didn't he? Yeah.
Aye.
You know.
Aye. Oh, it's a penalty.
You know.
That's got to be a penalty.
Well, it means nothing in the whole scheme of things. I get it. It's not going to change any decisions. And if it had been stronger or said more things that other people wanted to say, it's not going to change any outcome. You're dealing with the politics of the game. And they'll be damned if they do, damned if they don't. The board, Bobby, but look, it was a goal all day long, Bobby, wasn't it?
Of course it was. But see that statement you read out there, was that for Rangers or was it for the SFA?
No, that was for the club, our club.
Right, well, we've got a point there. They don't condone anything against the referee, right? No, that was a goal all day long, right? Brighton against Tottenham, at least Brighton got an apology.
That's what Rangers mentioned in their statement, Bobby. They mentioned that, aye.
They could have come out and say, it was a goal, we're sorry about that. And that would give us a bit of more belief, right? But no, they're saying that they don't condone. It was a goal. I don't care what you say. It was a goal all day long.
You've got the two bits mixed up. They're saying Rangers are saying they can't condone any threats or any statements made to the referee. However, when they talk about the decision, they said that it was the SFA. It said they got it right. It was the right decision. mate. Anyway, we've been joined by Bob here. How we doing, Bob here?
Well, I'm still smarting after the results there. I'm so I'm telling all show blue that I'm still so frustrated. We could have done that on Saturday. It was raining it.
I agree, but for some reason, Bob Chair, when we play them, we can't get. We seem to have a case where we have. There's about 4 players don't turn up. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say that Sutton and Davis never turned up because of the errors they made. I thought that before that they'd done okay.
Right.
Jack and Kent, they never turned up. Really never turned up. And you can't have that in these big games. Too many players.
You can't carry passengers in that game. Everybody's got to be on song and up for it. It's difficult, but nah. It's just so frustrating. I told you on Saturday, I thought Rangers played well on Saturday. I did. It was a mistake. Obviously, the mistakes that killed us. We were dead fine. Christ, Tap could have had about 4. But hey ho, we can't keep feeling sorry for ourselves. We've just got to dust it down, get up for the semi-final, and do them in the semi-final, and try and win the Scottish Cup this year. To at least gears a trophy in the season, and then build for next season. That's the way it is at the moment, and that's the way it's going to be.
Just to let everybody know, we're going to be having a raffle in the next few nights, and the winner will get a camper van. Yeah, just letting everybody know about it. Right, anyway.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. I agree with you, Bob Jer, but GB, you need players to turn up in these big games, yeah? They turned up last year for us at times. Even in the final in Seville, we never won it, but, you know, we didn't perform as well as we should, but they left everything at the park. There was players on Saturday, they were atrocious. With the piece, I mean, you've got to say that because of the errors they made, Sutton and Davis are going to get that stick. Yeah, atrocious errors they made. But the 2 Ryans, who have been 2 of our better players in the last few years at times, are absolutely atrocious. GB.
Aye, Alex, if you're talking about 4 players not turning up in your squad for one of the big games, you're never going to win titles, Ox. And this is where it comes down to. If your top players turning up, scoring goals week in, week out, then you'll be up there winning honours. I mean, it's just this is what it comes back to again, Ox. We've got to freshen it up. The boys are out of contract. We've got to get them moved on for the sake of their career, and for the sake of us winning trophies and having a player up there that will turn up most weeks, who's hungry, eager to impress, you know, all that kind of stuff. I think sometimes Kent, he's probably got too much an easy ride, Ox, because there's nobody there challenging him for his shirt, and that's how he gets left on there for so long. I think even Beale probably can be criticised that he's sitting there hoping for the Ryan Kent that we all know to turn up, and I just don't think it's there anymore. Ox. I think the boys' time's finished in Scottish football, and he's just got to go and start somewhere new that they don't know him, and he'll be able to use the tricks that he's got in his arsenal to go for it. You mean like I say, I think the Scottish game knows him inside out now, and he's not contributing enough in our team, Ox, not in these big games.
Oh, can I come in here?
Aye, on you go.
I think what a lot of us are forgetting as well is that team we put out in the park were in the Lions' Den with 60,000 gone nuts. Now, I thought they handled that, apart from the mistakes, they handled it well. But that's a hard place to play. Even the ball boys were getting at McGregor. And that's another thing. They should get hauled up about that. They've got no right to speak near the goalie. They wouldn't even give him the ball. But the players have got to get credit for playing in that. And that will not happen at Hampden. And we'll have 25,000 of the troops gone nuts. And I think it'll be a total different attitude coming through your players.
I hope so, David. I hope so. Well, we've been joined by George Logan. Evening, George.
How you doing, Ox? How you doing, boys? All right?
Good to hear from you, mate. The voice of reason.
There's no voice of reason here tonight, Ox. I mean, that was absolutely Ryan Kent wouldn't play for Rangers again. For me, he's just went hiding on Saturday. Ryan Jack's probably one of my favourite players, Ox, and he has been out the last few years. Another one, he just went hiding on Saturday, was non-existent on Saturday, and that's down to the manager. The manager should have noticed that straight away and took Ryan Jack off. He wasn't even kicking a ball on Saturday for me. And I said on Friday night, I thought Ryan Jack was most important players on Saturday, and he never even kicked a ball. And we're talking about the mistakes at the back, and I think somebody said it on Friday as well about how many goals Tav scores for us, the Costa's goals as well. The mistake with the defence back. Why was Tavernier running Ox? I mean, that boy Jota was 30 years away from him within a couple of seconds, and he was two years right beside him when the pass was made. I don't understand why Tav has to get that far forward constantly all the time. First and foremost, he's got to defend Ox. I mean, I think that mistake came for him not protecting his man on Saturday again.
You talking about the third goal, George?
The third goal, Ox, sorry, aye.
I mean, I think Tav's starting to move forward, and I've not watched it back that often, but it's not something I want to do. But for me, my initial thoughts were it was a bad pass for Ryan Jack. He put Suter under pressure, he played a blind pass. Yeah, you're right, Tav's there, but Jota's gone the right way, he's gone the wrong way, so within a second he's going to be yards away from it. It was just a howler for our whole team, well, the people involved, George, and then he's running through in McGregor. But I agree with you on Ryan Kent and Ryan Jack, mate. How they were still on the park for as long as they were after an hour was a mystery. And by the way, that was before both the errors happened. GB?
Ox, I felt that the point where the Tillman got taken off, that they should have changed it up then. I mean, that was probably the time to say that Kent's had his game for the day. He's not contributed to this point. We're still in the game at that point. You mean, we can still get the win. You mean, and Lundstrom again would be sitting on that bench, Ox, angry that he's not started. He's not one of these guys that enjoys no playing. So again, he could have been putting him on, fired up, wanting to put in a performance for their manager. And then again, Sakala's a perfect change for Kent. I mean, put Sakala out there. Boy always plays against Celtic really good on the left. And then that still allows Tillman to be in the game alongside Morelos. It's the substitutions, Ox, like I say, he's really got to look at his coaching team and say to them, look, we need to have better ideas here, because they're clearly, every game now that they've been involved with Celtic, they've always had mistakes, whether it's been substitutions or the team that they put out for the start. Like say, last time it was Lundstrom with his injury and Tillman with his injury. They keep making these silly mistakes, and it's costing the team inevitably.
But back in you come, George.
I totally agree. I said on Friday night I wouldn't have played Lundstrom either, Ox, but that was before I knew about Golson being missing. As soon as I seen on Saturday morning Golson wasn't playing and Suter was in, no offence to Suter, but I think we got found out the last game when we played people that weren't 100% fit, and that's what happened to that laddie on Saturday. They just run his race when he played that daft pass. Me personally, I would have played, if I was the manager, I would have went with Lundstrom at the back instead of Suter, because we've already been caught out with playing with guys that's no fit. We need massive changes there, Ox. Now looking at after that and Saturday, I thought we'd done well. I didn't get me wrong. I thought we'd done well to stay in the game, but can I be honest, they never really got a second gear, Ox, against us. They really never. I mean, they had wee boy Kyogo hardly kicked a ball, scored 2 goals. The boy Jota couldn't shot. The boy Maedo on the other side was running riot against us as well. We're miles behind them, Ox, and people. I thought we were quite close to them, but we need big changes in our team. It's a change of attitude as well, Ox, in our team. No want to get after them. I think that I would be embarrassed if I was some of the players on Saturday coming out after that game and the same old story again. Oh, we'll try harder. I'm sick of hearing that, Ox. We really, really need big changes at our club. Our team anyway, and the team.
I mean, the two guys would be really embarrassed if I'm being honest, Bobby, with the performance. But I mean, when you make a real howler like Davis and Suter makes, you're going to be embarrassed as individuals, aren't you? Everybody, it can happen to anybody when you make a mistake on the football park. But they were howlers.
No, watching the game, obviously, I think Davies was a bigger howler than Suarez was. McGregor, to me, could have saved him, but he was too old. He was like a 60-year-old, you know. He dropped the goal, dive, and it could have got to the guy. To me, I'm not going to criticise Suarez. He wasn't fit right, but he done a job. He made one bad mistake, but McGregor could have got him out of jail. But the David's thing, he should have went right through that guy and put that out for a corner. That is unacceptable.
That changed the game. Anyway, we've been joined by Dave. How we doing, Davey?
No bad, Ox. Considering. But I'm just saying about the statement for the club. It's got me fizzing. It really has. Because they're just treating us with contempt. And we're allowing that to happen. Again, there isn't much we can do. But you've got to try and appeal that somehow.
How can you appeal it, mate? You're not going to...
I don't know. But surely we've got lawyers there that's our QCs that's here that can have a look at that. And for to fight your corner, you've got to do that because that's what they've done for a long time. Because they always had a QC and they were fighting all the time. And that's why the referees came out to strike about 12 years ago or so. Because they were always fighting their corner and fighting.
If you had a blank book of paper, what would you have done?
Sorry?
What would you have done? What would you have done personally? If you're in charge, what would you have done?
Well, first of all, the statement they brought out regarding the referees giving them jip and all that, and they condone that. I wouldn't have even mentioned that. I wouldn't have even mentioned that at all. Because he deserves everything he gets and more. Because he's incompetent. He shouldn't be even refereeing. Because these decisions and that. So, the thing is...
You think Rangers Football Club, what your individual thoughts are, do you think Rangers Football Club are going to say nothing about a referee getting... They can't. It's the politics of the game, mate. But what would you have done if you were... They can't get the game replayed, whether we like it or not. It was a goal.
No.
It was a goal all day long.
That's right. We can't get the results going to stand.
Aye.
It doesn't matter what we say or do.
Right.
But
so
we have got to fight the corner to make sure that they are not going to keep doing this. Because if we don't do anything about it now, and we've been letting away with it for years, they've been getting away with this, and we keep sitting back. It's not the Rangers' way. Stiff upper lip and all that. That's out the window now. Because all these young teams and all that, they're not interested in all that. They want to see results and win at all costs. And the management are no longer bringing statements out condoning for some of the referees. But the management's no there backing all the young team up when anything's going wrong and things like that. They're picking the wrong sides. And go back to Saturday's game.
Aye.
See Saturday's game.
Mm-hmm.
The manager, his decisions are absolutely shocking. Kent should have been ripped off the park at half time. Put Sakala on. Morales, he never kicked a ball. For the wee Kyogo.
He did, mate, but get chopped off.
Aye. And we should have had the big Cholak on for him. Then, what do you call him? Tillman. He wasn't playing either. So we should put Arfield on there, looking for goals. And it's the same. See with Bonner, half the time with Bonner, he's too far off his man. And the ball's going over the top of him all the time. And see when you're defending, you shouldn't be anywhere an arm's length away from the guy you're defending against. because he's giving him 5-10 yards at a start, and he can't get back.
He likes people running him for some reason. Bonner, I don't understand his frustration. He likes him.
That's right. Bonner should only be an arm's length away from the man that he's marking. My God, it's just simple stuff. And it's the same, we never seem to learn. They always want, as soon as the ball goes out, it's quick throw-ins and quick goal kicks and all the rest of it. We never turn and face the ball. It happens all the time. It's schoolboy stuff. If the manager can't see that, to tell these players, they shouldn't actually need to tell the players. The players should ken that already. But, oh my God,
it's frustrating, we get it. George, the club are damned if no, yes, mate. George, the club are damned if they do and damned if they don't with statements, aren't they?
Aye, of course, Rock. See, to be honest, you asked me what I would have done if a blank bit of paper, I would have written no bother sending in it. But what's the point, Rock? There's absolutely no point whatsoever in sending letters out and things like that. It's done, and it's everybody can see. I didn't need the SFA to turn around and say to me, I'm sorry about that. And say, I could see exactly what it was. And I'll tell you another one. Alfredo Morelos is there as well with the Velox. But these things happen in these games. I thought, what I was saying there about Morelos, I thought Morelos was a good game for us instead of actually thought he ran the line well and things like that. So, I mean, I think we keep on seeing to tackling the ones that the same ones all the time when guys get away scot-free. I thought Morelos was a good game for us on Saturday.
Let's just say he was the best of the front line, George, yeah?
That wouldn't be hard, to be fair, right?
He was the best of the front line, you know. Well, gentlemen, we've reached that time of the evening. Dave, good to hear from you. Not heard from you for a while, mate.
Yeah, just that really infuriated me, that statement to the club. It really did. And I didn't why we should. And I heard George saying there, I didn't why. You've got to fight your corner. Even though you can, you're going to get beat. Sometimes you've got to take a bloody nose just to let them ken that you're not going to back off. You really have. Because
cheers, mate. Cheers,
it's getting worse. Right, okay.
Cheers, buddy.
Right,
Bob Jar, cheers, mate.
Aye, thanks very much, D-Rock.
I know you were sitting there, mate. Where's Bobby?
Aye, good show again, Obs. I definitely want to down right. Plus, I'm going to study that Rangers comment because I'm a wee bit angry at the other caller, but I'll study it and see. But what I would like to say before I go is, I was in the pub on Saturday night. Thank God I got beaten Saturday night with Southside Super 6. Because I'd have been in the pub saying, I've got £542 coming back tomorrow, so go and get a score. So, thank God I got beaten. I got beaten Saturday night. That's what I'm saying. But you get a good cry and you give me a wee bit of hope. So,
cheers,
good on him.
Cheers, mate. Davey.
Aye, thanks for letting us on, guys. And a wee reminder, guys, never give that mob the pleasure of knowing or even let them think that they're getting under our skins, because they don't. And we are a people, and God bless the Rangers. Good night, guys.
JB, been entertaining tonight.
It has been, mate. It's been well debated tonight, and I'm sure it will continue for the rest of the week for these. But thanks for having me on, and thanks to all the callers for phoning in tonight and making it a great show.
Old Davey, George Bobby, Bob Jar, Smurf, and Davey for Grangeman. It was great to hear from you all. Thanks to GB, thanks to Fox and Old School Blue for doing the technicals. This has been Rangers Radio. We'll be back tomorrow night between 8 and 10 talking about all things Rangers. I've got a funny feeling we'll still be talking about the same thing. Take it away, Old School Blue.
We are the Rangers FC. We are the people, you better believe. We are together, we're doing the bouncy all over the world. We had our troubles, but now they are gone. They tried to kill us, but the bells we stood strong. We are together, doing the bouncy all over the world. Lucia Vibrox, for Lancer and Three. The fall will follow, and God save the Queen. You'll hear us singing, doing the bouncy all over the world. In Barcelona in 72, we beat the Russians by 3 goals to 2. Still celebrating, doing the bouncy all over the world. Glasgow Rangers are back where we belong. Blue Sea of Ibrox, and we're still going strong. We wear our colours, the red, white and blue. We wear them proudly like blue noses do. We are together, doing the bouncy all over the world. The pride of Scotland, but that's nothing new. The pride of Glasgow, and Glasgow is blue. We are together, doing the bouncy all over the world. To be a blue nose, it fills us with pride. We are united, we'll never divide. We are together, doing the bouncy all over the world. Doing the bouncy all over the world. Doing the bouncy all over the world.